Chairman. Thank you. I guess probably the best thing, just in terms of the accomplishments and overview, most of this, quite frankly, is what we've reported to the board on other years. There's not a great deal of change. In terms of the numbers, we've had a slight increase in the number of tort claims compared to last year. I believe roughly 10% increase. Handled approximately 70 lawsuits. Last year we had several suits that were resolved positively for the county, and while we admittedly had great expense in 3 of the lawsuits, they did resolve favorably. Specifically, I'm talking about the Pola case, the Colbeck case, and the Figueroa case, all of which were decided in favor of the county, 2 of which are now on appeal. One was appealed but dismissed because of a lack of prosecution. The attorneys in the office, in almost every instance that there is litigation, we are involved in the case and have somebody actively engaged, as well as outside counsel. We have continued to use as our approach our demands for dismissal, which basically tries to address frivolous lawsuits. They are not counted in the 70 lawsuits. We again have been very successful in that and have received a number of voluntary dismissals based upon our analysis that they are inappropriately naming the county. One of those approaches, oftentimes what they'll do is, if you're not sure who to sue, you just sue everyone. Well, that's obviously not fair to us to engage us in that litigation and then have to incur defense costs and whatever other costs may be involved in something like that. So we have become very aggressive in demanding dismissal when we believe the suit is frivolous. We work actively in conjunction with the personnel council and also serve on all of your disciplinaries. We serve as the hearing officer. I don't have numbers on that, but I can tell you that we have a number of disciplinary hearings each and every year. We've been able to collect over $370,000 in bail forfeitures, and recently added an assistant county counsel for the open space after the departure of Bert Zimmer. General office, we constantly are working to update the administrative code. As you know, I think last year had 3 administrative code changes, and we anticipate some coming up very soon. The updated in the contract services, quite frankly, I was a little remiss in terms of numbers, but it might surprise you to learn that during the course of the year, our office in-house handles probably close to 2,000 contracts a year. In most instances, those are review, updates, some may be minor revisions, but also somewhere in the area of about 200 are initial contracts that we start from scratch. We're trying to individualize contracts more and more, which I think is very important. We've updated our computer bank for leases and continue to initiate. We also do our collection matters. We've done collection matters for solid waste enforcement, notices of violations, our health department, and we also do it for Runnels Specialized Hospital, and engaged in a couple of pieces of litigation right now on collection, as well as assistance from outside counsel on collections. Our initiatives 2015 basically continue to try to limit our exposure. We work with the safety committee and also with our insurance, with Bert Zimmer on the insurance issues, to make sure that we have proper coverage on any of our activities. And that vendors who provide services to us also are providing us with insurance coverage, making us additional insurance. We continue to collect the monies that are owed to the county on bail forfeitures. Certainly, we will continue our use of offers of settlement where we believe that there is a case that justifies payment by the county. There are instances where that occurs, of course, and try to obtain a reasonable settlement without incurring unnecessary litigation costs. We previously mentioned updating the code, and of course that continues with the Freehold Policy Committee, updating the administrative code to continue to ensure investigations conducted relative to insurance coverage and litigation. We provide legal assistance for all the shared services initiatives with municipalities and other entities, and also review all the periodicals in the law library. County Adjusters, I do want to take the County Adjuster's office within my request this year. I am asking for one additional position in a part-time capacity. The initial request was a full-time person, and it was for the office of the County Adjuster. The increase in their caseload, the obligations that they have in terms of reporting to the state of New Jersey, a new system that was recently imposed by the state of New Jersey relative to a civil commitment automated tracking system, which utilized not only with reference to the involuntarily committed patients, but also deals with information gathering for gun permits. We are required to conduct investigations for any resident who files for gun permit. Last year alone, the Office of the County Adjuster was requested to conduct 3,000 investigations on gun permits. Because of the extended three-way check that's now been imposed by the state, there really is a substantial increase in the burden at the Adjuster's office. This individual would help not only in that area, but we have some issues with relations to state billing for our obligations for psychiatric patients in other facilities, which we are trying to address and take back from the finance department. That individual will be able to help us, hopefully be able to help us with that. And the increase, unfortunately, a substantial increase in the number of hearings for involuntarily committed individuals. The number of hearings at Trinitas Hospital alone doubled last year. As a result of which, because we only have Mr. Russo, who's the county adjuster, we are obligated to attend to every one of those hearings and represent the county. The purpose of being there is to ensure that for those individuals who could be harmful to themselves or to others, that we ensure that they remain involuntarily committed. That's the obligation of the county adjuster's office, as well as financial issues relative to identifying legally responsible relatives for the services they receive, and having those legally responsible relatives make a contribution to that cost if they are financially able. As a result of the increase in these hearings and the obligations, at the same time there are hearings in Trinitas, we also have hearings in Reynolds. The state obviously can have two judges working at the same time, so as a result of which it's also put a burden on my office, because when we have that duplication, one of the assistant county counsels will cover Trinitas while Mr. Russo is either at Reynolds or anywhere in the state. He does a lot of traveling between Trenton State and many other facilities where we have patients. That's kind of the overview. From a financial standpoint, actually, compared to last year, are seeking a slight reduction. The only change in terms of an increased cost is last year, as you can see, previously requested seasonal assistance at $34,000. We spent almost that much last year, and that was basically not that I didn't have the ability to spend more, but just to stay within the budget. The seasonal is our law clerks, and they are a great asset for the office. It really is much better service for the board and the departments to have my attorneys doing the work that they have more experience in doing and having the legal research conducted by legal interns. The ideal situation for my office and its operations, I believe it's very helpful for us to have at least 2 part-time legal assistants during the school year. You know, usually what we will do is get one assistant for 2 days, 2.5 if possible, and another to cover up the other 2.5 days. During the summertime, if the funding is there, we have at least 2 full-time summer interns, and oftentimes in addition to them, may have a volunteer or a intern from one of the law schools where they would actually get credits. It's a great assistance to the office, especially during the summertime, needless to say, with a lot of vacation time going on. Other than that, one of the areas where we were able to decrease the courts in the county counsel's office was in the area dealing with the county adjuster's office. Up until last year, approximately mid-year, I guess, we had Don Smith. Mr. Don Smith was an attorney, and in addition to prosecuting the involuntarily committed individuals, we also have a state obligation to provide those individuals with representation. Over the years, that representation was provided by you, and it got to a point where I guess last year I think it was up to close to $84,000 was the cost for outside counsel. We continue to conduct an investigation relative to those costs and learn that some counties were getting those representation free of charge by the public defender's office through the state of New Jersey. So we, upon learning that, made a similar application, and they have now, since, again, I believe it was June 1st, they have taken over that activity. So we will save half that amount for last year, and obviously this year we'll save the entire amount, and the obligation to provide that representation has now ceased. So that's roughly $80-something thousand that we were able to save. We also have saved some money, not actually saved some money, but a reduction in some of our litigation costs and the moving of some of our litigation costs over to the our self-insured fund, which we have.
Bill, any questions for Ken?
I'm sorry. One last piece. The county adjuster's office, I believe, shows a slight increase over and above the 2%, and that increase would represent the assistant. I believe it represents the part-timer, approximately $20,000 for 2 to 3 days of a week of her services.
Bill, is there any question for the county council on the budget? I just also wanted to know the role your office played in the finalization of the Runnels sale, and obviously we worked with the Improvement Authority on that particular transaction. And, Runnels obviously said very much involved, as well as Director Guzzo, but a significant amount of time that was put on by your staff as well.
That's correct, and I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize both first Assistant Rose Comas and Steve Merman. They were invaluable in that transaction and the work that they did.
Thank you very much, County Council. If we have no other questions, our next budget hearing will be before the next agenda meeting on March 19th at 5:30 p.m. Thank you everyone for attending. Motion to adjourn.